Towards the end of his long and extraordinary life, after decades spent mapping the deepest, most treacherous territories of the human psyche, Carl Jung issued a final, chilling warning. It was the culmination of his life's work, a last piece of wisdom from a man who had seen it all. And it wasn't about the obvious monsters, the narcissists, the psychopaths, the overt villains we are all taught to fear. No, his final warning was about a type of person far more common, far more deceptive, and in many ways, far more dangerous. The one person, he cautioned, that you should never, under any circumstances, truly trust. This is the person who seems flawless, the perfect parent who never raises their voice, the ideal employee who exceeds every expectation with a serene smile, the flawless friend who always says the right thing, remembers every birthday, and never has a bad day. They are the pillars of society, the models of integrity. And yet, when you are around them, something feels profoundly wrong. There is a hollowness, an artificial quality you can't quite put your finger on. Being in their presence is like standing next to a beautiful, perfectly crafted mannequin. It makes you feel strangely self-conscious, messy, and all too human. It makes you question your own authenticity. That feeling is not envy. It is not your own insecurity. It is your soul's alarm system, correctly perceiving that you are in the presence of an absence. You are interacting with a mask, and only a mask. Jung's final warning was about this person, the one who has become so completely identified with their social persona that there is no one left inside. And the danger is this: a person with no authentic self has no anchor, no core, and nothing to stop them from doing whatever is necessary to protect the perfect illusion they have built. Today, I will reveal exactly who this person is, guided by Jung's final, urgent warning. I will show you the 3 terrifying signs to identify this walking persona, and explain why their inevitable, catastrophic collapse is a danger you must distance yourself from immediately, before you become collateral damage in the destruction of a life that was never real to begin with. To understand this danger, we must look at a case Jung described that perfectly illustrates this terrifying phenomenon. It wasn't a case of wild delusion or overt abuse, but of a quiet, creeping madness. A woman, the wife of a highly respected public figure, came to Jung in a state of deep psychological distress. Her husband was a man admired by everyone. He was a pillar of moral integrity, a beacon of social grace. He was, by all accounts, the perfect husband, the perfect father, and a flawless leader in their community. He never got angry. He never showed weakness. He never had a hair out of place. He was, in a word, perfect. And it was driving her insane. She sat across from Jung, not with stories of cruelty, but with a story of emptiness. "He is perfect," she explained, her voice trembling with a confusion that bordered on despair. "He never forgets an anniversary. He is kind to the children. He is admired by our friends. But I don't know who he is. I feel like I am living with a ghost." She described a life of unnerving predictability, a home where real, messy emotions were never welcome. If she cried, he would look at her with a kind of detached pity, as if she were a malfunctioning appliance. If she got angry, he would respond with calm, infuriating logic. She felt that her own humanity, her flaws, her passions, her spontaneous joys and sorrows, was a messy, embarrassing problem in the face of his sterile perfection. It was then that Jung saw the horrifying truth. The man wasn't perfect. He was pathologically identified with his persona, the social mask we all wear. He had poured every last drop of his psychic energy, his very life force, into maintaining this flawless, external facade. He had become nothing but the mask. Jung warned that this state, which he called persona identification, is one of the most profoundly dangerous conditions in human psychology. Why? Because the parts of ourselves that we repress, the anger, the lust, the envy, the chaos, our shadow, they don't simply disappear when we ignore them. They accumulate. They gather pressure behind the dam of the persona, growing stronger, more toxic, and more desperate for release with each passing year. The wife wasn't living with a ghost. She was living on the fault line of a psychological earthquake, and she was the only one who could feel the tremors. The persona, Jung explained, is not inherently evil. In fact, it's a necessary and healthy part of being a functional human being. It's the social interface we present to the world, the professional mask of the doctor, the patient mask of the teacher, the friendly mask of the neighbor. It allows us to navigate complex social situations smoothly. But the danger, the profound danger that Jung warned of, arises when a person forgets that they are wearing a mask. It's when they look in the mirror and mistake the mask for their actual face. At that moment, they lose all connection to their soul, to their gut instincts, to their authentic feelings, and most importantly, to their shadow. They cease to be an individual and become a puppet of social expectations, their strings pulled by the collective shoulds and oughts of the world around them. This is the one person you can never truly trust. Why? Because there is no authentic core to trust. Their actions are not guided by an inner self, by a moral compass, or by genuine feeling. Their actions are guided by one desperate, all-consuming need, to maintain the mask at all costs. They will say what is expected, do what is applauded, and feel what is appropriate, not because it is true, but because it is required to keep the facade from cracking. Jung put it bluntly, the man who is nothing but his persona is not a man at all. He is a collective fiction, an empty suit, animated by the approval of others. To truly grasp Jung's final warning, imagine a beautiful, massive, ornate dam. It looks impressive, strong, and permanent. It holds back a vast, dark reservoir. That dam is the persona. But the reservoir it's holding back is not clean water. It is a lifetime of repressed shadow. Every impulse denied, every imperfect emotion swallowed, every dark thought banished. It is a toxic, volatile sludge of everything the person has refused to be. And Jung's final urgent warning was this: every single one of those dams is destined to crack. It is not a matter of if, but when. And when it does, the eruption is never a gentle leak. It is a catastrophic failure, a violent explosion that unleashes the toxic contents of a lifetime of denial with devastating, indiscriminate force. So how do you spot this person? How do you identify someone who has become a hollow mask before the inevitable collapse? The signs are not found in what they do wrong, but in their chilling lack of imperfection. They are the signs of an impending dam break. Sign number 1. Uncanny social perfection. This is the most obvious and most overlooked sign. They have a flawless, almost robotic adherence to social norms. Their emotional responses feel rehearsed, as if they are following a script for how a good person should react. When someone tells a sad story, they display the perfect amount of sympathy. When something is funny, they laugh for just the right amount of time. There is no spontaneity, no genuine messiness, none of the awkward, beautiful, unpredictable chaos of being a real human. This isn't high self-control. It is the complete absence of self. Sign number 2. Extreme reaction to image threats. For most people, criticism stings. For the persona-identified individual, it is a threat to their very existence. Any minor challenge to their perfect image, questioning their judgment, pointing out a small inconsistency, even making a joke at their expense, triggers a disproportionately hostile, cold, or viciously defensive reaction. They will shut down, gaslight you, or turn on you with surprising venom. You must understand, you haven't just criticized their opinion or action. You have poked a crack in the mask. You have threatened their entire psychological universe, and they will attack you with the ferocity of a cornered animal to protect it. And sign number 3, a hidden life of contradictions. The shadow will always find a way out. Because all psychic energy is poured into maintaining the public facade, the repressed shadow often erupts in secret, compartmentalized ways. This is the respected pastor with a hidden gambling addiction, the perfect mother who has a secret affair, the moralizing politician who engages in the very behavior they condemn. These are not simple hypocrisies. They are the desperate, convulsive gasps of a suffocating soul. The shadow is demanding expression, and it is leaking out through the cracks of the perfect facade, creating a secret double life that stands in stark, shocking opposition to their public image. When you see these signs, you are not seeing a strong person. You are seeing the warning signs of a catastrophic failure. Recognizing this pattern in someone close to you can be terrifying, and it often comes with a noble but dangerous impulse: the desire to help. You want to break through the mask to reach the real person inside. You want to show them that they are loved for who they are, flaws and all. According to Jung, this is a profound and perilous mistake. Trying to unmask a persona-identified individual is not seen by them as an act of love. It is perceived as a violent, existential attack. They will not thank you. They will identify you as the primary threat to their survival and seek to neutralize you. Jung's advice for dealing with this person is stark, simple, and devoid of sentimentality. The only safe strategy is what he called conscious disengagement. Phase 1. Trust the hollowness. The first and most important step is to honor your own intuition. That feeling of emptiness, of artificiality, that you get from them, trust it completely. It is your psyche correctly perceiving the absence of an authentic self. Do not let their flawless public image or the praise of others convince you that you are wrong. Do not mistake their perfection for integrity. Their perfection is the very sign of the danger. Phase 2. Maintain superficiality. You must learn to interact with the mask, not the person you wish was behind it. Keep your conversations with them strictly on the level of the persona. Discuss the weather, social events, work projects, and other trivialities. This is crucial. Do not share your deep feelings, your dreams, your fears, or your vulnerabilities with them. There is no one home to receive these sacred parts of you. There is only a mask that will, at best, not understand them, and at worst, file them away as information to be used against you if you ever threaten its integrity. And Phase 3. Create distance before the inevitable collapse. This is the heart of Jung's final warning. Recognize that the persona-identified individual is not on a stable path. They are on a collision course with their own repressed shadow. An eruption, a nervous breakdown, a public scandal, a sudden abandonment of their family, a violent outburst, is not a possibility. It is a psychological certainty. Jung's warning is a practical one. Be far away when the dam breaks. You must consciously and deliberately create distance, not out of malice but out of self-preservation, so that when the toxic flood of a lifetime of denial is finally unleashed, you are not the one standing downstream. By learning to recognize this dangerous pattern in others, you are given a profound and unexpected gift: the motivation to check in with yourself. The warning about the hollow person is not just about them. It is a powerful call to embrace your own authenticity. It forces you to ask the uncomfortable but life-altering questions. Where in my own life am I wearing a mask that has become too tight? Where am I performing a role instead of living a life? Am I too identified with my own persona? The good son, the successful professional, the perfect partner? This warning is Jung's final invitation to come home to yourself. And when you accept that invitation, when you consciously choose to embrace your own authentic, messy, imperfect self, your world changes. You stop being drawn to the false allure of the perfect person. Their flawless facade no longer impresses you, it saddens you. You begin to trust what is real, not what is polished. You find beauty not in the absence of flaws, but in the courageous integration of them. Your relationships become deeper, more meaningful, and infinitely more stable, because they are built on the solid ground of truth, not on the shifting sands of performance. You learn to love the real, flawed humanity in others, because you have finally learned to love it in yourself. Jung's final warning is not a cynical condemnation of humanity. It is a radical celebration of what it means to be whole. It teaches us that true integrity isn't about being perfect. It's about being complete. It's about having the courage to acknowledge your anger, your fear, your insecurities, your shadow, and integrate them into a complete, authentic personality. The whole person, the person who is not afraid of their own darkness, is the only person you can ever truly trust. And that trust must always begin with yourself. This is, without question, one of Jung's most challenging but ultimately most liberating insights. It asks us to turn away from the societal ideal of perfection and walk the more difficult but infinitely more rewarding path of authenticity. If you are choosing this path, if you are choosing to be real over being flawless, make a declaration of that choice right now. Write in the comments, "I choose to be whole, not perfect." Let it be a signal to yourself and to everyone in this community that we are committed to what is true, not just what is pleasing. If you are ready to continue exploring the real, unfiltered truths of the human psyche, then subscribe and join our community. We are not here to learn how to be perfect. We are here to learn how to be conscious. We are here to have the courage to look at the darkness, both in the world and in ourselves, so that we can live more fully in the light. Thank you for watching. See you in the next dimension.